Prep for action.
Communication is reacquired.
All games end today.
Hey! You're not seeing things. Well, you are seeing things. You're seeing 5 of the most handsome dudes this side of, I don't know.
And me.
Jabba's palace. That's right. It's Talking Joe 100. They said it couldn't be done. They said it shouldn't be done, but we went ahead and did it. And we got the 5 guys who made it happen right here. So sound off.
Oh, do you want us to turn the sound off? Okay, cool. That's actually a good idea, guys. For anyone listening, now is a great opportunity to turn your sound off.
Yeah, listen for 90 minutes on mute.
Ben should go first because he was the first. He was your first ex-wife.
How you doing? What are you up to?
How's it going, guys? Happy 100. I can't believe Chief has made it. And he's got his 4 evil exes here. Like a Scott Pilgrim comic or something. Are you going to make us all, fight?
Well,
and then
someone did pose a question of who would
coins.
win in a knife fight. So that was one of the questions from the listeners, yeah.
Not me.
Question.
I'm telling you now, not me in a knife fight. That would be...
I think, Mark, actually, you posted some responses to that, Mark, anyway, didn't you?
Yeah, do you want to hear them now?
Yeah, go on, read them out.
So, starting with the first, it would be Ben would just enthuse about how great knives were when he was young, back in the days. And then...
Sounds about right.
Chris would just come out with an encyclopedic knowledge of rare UK knife variants.
That's not true.
S Jubs would dress up as Stitch and have an unboxing of his favourite knives live on his YouTube stream, and Chief would just come up with a massive Excel list of every knife ever.
Spreadsheet
ranking
Chief.
them all,
Spreadsheet,
and I just wouldn't be asked until everyone else had their go, and there's no one else left to get involved with this knife thing.
Yeah.
You'd monkey wrench it, wouldn't you? You'd wait
Chief,
for the battle to be over.
Spreadsheet, buddy.
I do love a spreadsheet. We just started a new spreadsheet, me and Ben. We've gone back to playing Star Wars Battlefront 1, and we're now recording our kills, deaths, and scores. The kill to death ratio is not in our favour, I'll be honest.
No, it's not. And also,
we looked it up. There's something called try-hard gamers on that game, which is apparently a new term to me, and it's apparently professional competitive players. There's only about 50 of them left on those servers playing that game, but we seem to end up in a game with them all the time.
Yeah, I think it's another case of Chief finding something that is fundamentally good and fun, then just dry humping it to death, killing it, tearing it to pieces, and just moving on.
And ruining it for other
hobbies.
people as well, yeah.
How can we take any and all joy out of this thing?
Yeah, you don't just ruin your own hobbies, you ruin other people's.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
and that's the mantra
live.
for Talking Joe, actually, I think, isn't it?
He witnessed
that should
it
be in
live.
Latin under the badge.
About an hour ago, Ben witnessed it live. We had a little game on Battlefront, and I got my balls in a vice.
He was getting his balls busted by Louise, and it was
she was like, Evelyn was watching a game of me playing Battlefront, and
learning.
Louise came in and went mental, basically saying, "Why are you letting her watch this? This is so inappropriate." Blah blah blah.
I heard it. It was great.
Yeah, you were live on the other end.
We should pipe that audio in. I mean, that should be a new segment for the show.
Chief gets his balls in a vice.
Yeah.
Just, dude, get on your iPhone. Just get audio notes. Next time she's going at you, just hit that record.
Yeah.
That's good for 2 reasons. That's good for podcasting, but will also stand up in a court of law if it gets to that.
I'm just excited for the jingle that will come out of that one.
Chief gets taught a
Balls in a
lesson.
vice. Balls in a vice.
A lesson.
What
What
rhymes
did you
with
say?
balls?
What should you do?
Balls in a vice. Yes.
Diagnostic, how are you? You're a busy man. Thank you for taking the time out here. What have you been up to?
I just finished editing a few minutes ago. I'm not even editing. I actually uploaded the edit that I did. I was up all night with it, pretty much. So
Okay,
yeah,
I'm going to come to you quick. I'm going to come to you quickly. I will go to the other guys. Ben won't care about this. S Jubs won't care about this. Mark will have an opinion. You'll have an opinion.
I care about
First
munch.
Friday, Flint and Lady J, classified views.
100% love them.
I've seen them, Chief. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
no, but you're not bothered. You're not collecting. I'm just saying you're not bothered.
Just because I'm not buying them doesn't mean a man's not bothered about something.
Okay, all right, fine. But good choices, and Hasbro seem to have learned a little bit from feedback from the peeps buying them, because there's not too much of that gold trim stuff. And
that actually kind of phased out after the first wave, pretty much. And
Right.
I think I had an interview with Lenny, the designer, name drop Clang, and he basically explained that there was a lot of feedback and them like looking at forums and fan reactions and stuff, and they kind of phased that back a little bit. So yeah, he kind of, I think he explained it as wanting the first wave to be kind of like premium, that kind of like brand new, fresh looking, and so the gold was kind of added to it to kind of give it a very high end feel. And then I think though that it was phased out basically though.
But particularly on the
good choice
gun.
of figures. Yeah.
Totally.
Flints,
The Golden
you know.
Joes. Guys,
They
I see
really
people
nailed
with
the
beverages in
colour on
hands. Are we having a toast just yet?
Oh yeah, go on then.
It's just,
Go on, then.
it's just the morning.
Bloody well hope so.
Oh, what's he got here?
A little bit of sparkling wine.
Yes.
And since all my friends are in the computer, I shall be
Bubbly.
chugging it on my own.
Okay,
Is it
you've
all
got
of
some
your
white-
friends? Hang on,
you've
hang
got
on.
a beer there.
I
Ben.
want that cork to go. Go on.
Stephen, are we all of your friends? Did you just say?
Yeah, they're all now virtual.
Yeah, I've just got a brew dog.
Cheers.
All right, well,
Nice.
chin chin, boys. Happy 100, Talking
Yeah.
Joe.
I toast this episode with a pint of wee.
Oh goodness me! Chug, chug, chug.
Drinking
chug.
it now. That would put hairs on your chest.
It will probably put hairs on other people's chests. It's that strong. I've probably Look,
That would,
Yeah,
that
me
would
as
probably
well.
cure
Doing
COVID.
all right.
Yeah, that's the cure. That's why I don't have COVID. Drink your own wee.
no,
SJ,
it won't. It won't cure COVID. It will mutate it into something even more.
COVID-20.
S Jubs, how are you? Straight from the bottle,
Mm.
looking good.
Yes, straight from the bottle.
Well, like I say, I've got no one to share it with, guys. So, and besides,
There you go.
I'm drinking for two because the wife ain't drinking.
How you
Your
been keeping,
wife
though?
might
You
have been.
You been
She
good?
might have been.
I was
Oh,
going to
it's
say your wife might have been saving that to wet the baby's head with, and you've just blasted it open on a 100th anniversary of Talking Joe.
which
Not a
50
cheap
people
and
are listening
cheerful
to.
$7 bottle, Ben, my friend.
Oh, no,
this
you're gonna
is-
get
this is
something-
shit.
Okay.
You could have christened a boat with that.
The hangover is going to christen a boat. Anyways, how am I? Great, guys. I've just celebrated a birthday. Show and tell
Big
time.
2-1.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Chief. You can stay. Check this bad boy out.
Ooh.
Oh,
It's so beautiful.
Wait,
So
what is that?
beautiful. This
What
is
is
the
it?
This is the Playmobil.
Oh, the
it's the
Playmobil.
Playmobil one, yeah. I
Oh,
thought so.
it's so nice, guys.
And they're giving that license out to anyone nowadays.
But Playmobil is such a high quality product. They did very, very right by
You
it.
seen the NECA toys that they've?
Hey.
Well, that's cool.
It's
Yeah,
very
that's
rad.
Yeah,
Does
the
it get
NECA
up to
figure's
88?
good, Yeah.
Does it get up to 88 miles an hour, or
Maybe on a downslope. I'll try it out tomorrow.
maybe out the
I mean,
window?
rubber tires, pal. And, of course, they
Oh, they
hover-
flip. Nice.
hover mode engaged.
Oh, so it's the Mr.
yeah.
Fusion one, is it? Nice.
Where we're going,
Well-
we don't need chodes. Yeah.
It is what you make of it, Ben. I mean, this can be Back to the Future Part 1 or 2. It's got the old fishing rod that you can jam in the back there.
Brilliant.
Oh, man.
Hot Rod's
Jeez.
fishing rod.
Thing of beauty. I really have to pick up the Playmobil Advent calendar to get all the additional accessory pieces
Oh,
and
wow.
things.
Oh man,
But
they've
I
screwed
got-
you there, haven't they?
Fucking hell, money makers. I got one of these. First one I've ever.
Oh, special
owned.
core. Don't
Yeah,
nobody
well-
call it Steel Brigade.
Oh, did
Okay.
you do a video? Did you do a video on that dude?
I
SJ?
did, and,
Yeah, I
and
saw
what's
that.
more, have you guys
Brilliant.
seen these?
Yeah, the kind of repro
repros.
cards. They're brilliant, aren't they?
That's my freaking name up there. You can't
Yeah.
see it really, but it's Steven Jabber, the what do you call it, Chris?
Special core.
Special core member. Yeah. Oh,
No,
so
you're right. It's
it's
Steel Brigade, but it's amazing.
good toys, boys.
Very
Anyways,
good.
anyone else got some
S-Jobs, is
show and
that-
tell?
Is that the save up your tokens and send away dude?
It is.
And then you give them the information though.
Yeah. Well, you'd fill out this sort
Yeah.
of pro forma, like
I never got
fields.
mine.
No, neither did I. But I
Forma.
think I was a bloody idiot. I mean, 9 years old, and yeah, I thought they would honestly send one to South Africa. Joke's on me. But anyways, finally got mine. And
Brilliant.
Nice. That's
Wicked,
cool.
wicked.
That was my favorite figure as a kid because I thought it was me.
Yeah.
It's an interesting line of question. I mean, who is this? Do you army build them? Do you treat it as you? Like,
I think you
collector's
treat
got
it
a
as
different
you.
take.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's such a faceless legion in most people's imagination that, like, how do you treat it as you if there's an identical, brigade of them?
Effectively, it's lots of people, therefore army builders, isn't it? Pretty much. So it's just an easy way for Hasbro to say, "Hey, kids, get this and pay £5 for it," and
I guess practically speaking, the only person army building these is Mr. Bobby Vella. The rest of us have to make do with a paltry one, or I don't know, not even. Anyways,
yeah,
who's
I've only
next?
got 5.
Modern.
Funky Bunch.
Oh, the modern
latest
ones. I've got
member.
12 of the modern ones.
Of course, at least.
Funky Bunch, latest member of the Talking Joe crew, still with us after 5 episodes. You're going well. Cobra Commander's joined the fray, but how are you, Funky Bunch?
I'm all right. I've got my special Snake Eyes hoodie on today.
Oh, nice.
So
Brilliant.
I'll have to take my earphones out to do this, actually.
And you'll have to shut the hell up.
What does it zip all the way up? Does it?
That's
All right.
amazing.
Oh, my God.
That's wicked.
Street rat.
So, yeah, there we go.
He's doing
I'll
well.
get you, Cobra Commander, in sign language.
You could definitely hold up a spa with that.
That's wicked. That's wicked.
That
Obviously-
Cobra Commander lid is fantastic. What's the RRP on that? And what's the deal?
20.
Yeah, how do we get one?
That's a target. What is that?
Hang on.
that
because
Target
I've
exclusive?
removed my headphones, so I can't hear you guys properly.
Doesn't look like it's something.
Basically,
you get
it
in
is a GameStop. I think a GameStop exclusive because I haven't seen it anywhere else. This and a Snake Eyes one, which I've got on order, which is coming soon. And they retail for I think 120. I think it was.
Keith,
119.
I think you need that.
Yeah,
And they
I
come-
didn't
look, it
realise it was
comes-
new. I thought it was like quite old, but that's a new one, is it?
Yeah, it comes with this really cool stand as well, which is pretty dope. Hang on, let me just show you.
Well, you've
So
got
you got,
Ben,
you got good
the,
visual through the other way, the two-way.
Yeah, it's a one way, so you can see out of. You can't see out of it, but everyone can see your face. No,
like a glass shield of Luke Skywalker.
yeah, exactly. You can see out of it. It's like if I do this, you might be able to get. Yeah, you can see it's.
Oh
kind
yeah,
of like,
yeah. Wicked.
You can see quite clearly through it, and then the other side is that kind of mirrored kind of thing. But you can. When I had the light on me last night, doing the Full Force Weekly episode. You could literally see my face like clear as day through it. It was the funniest thing, but it's beautiful, and it's got the kind of stripe on top, which Larry Hammer described as this is where the C4 is kept. So if anyone tries to tamper with the device, the C4 goes off. Only Larry.
I always questioned the logic of having your leader's head explode. He's walking around day to day with C4 packed in his helmet, right?
We've all been there, mate. We've all been there.
Ben, you've got the Boba Fett helmet. I thought you were going to go down a train of getting these life-size replica helmets at one point.
No, but I'm going to get the Black Series Rebel Pilot helmet. That looks really good too.
Oh yeah, it looks gorgeous.
I don't know what other ones they do, Chief. I think it's just Boba Fett and that one. I think they do a Boba Fett like a prototype one, which I actually think looks quite, it's quite cool.
The white one.
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. Me and Chief talk about that pretty much daily.
Boba.
Yeah,
It's like
the
the
Boba in
two
the
Bs.
UK.
Right.
Yeah, Boba
Nah,
Fett.
just between the two of you, I think.
Listen, no comics to talk about this week, but we're going to have a little dig into G.I. Joe the movie. So let's have some discussion about that, and then we can have a general chit-chat about G.I. Joe stuff afterwards, and thoughts on Talking Joe, and favourite moments and stuff from the show, favourite jingles, etc. But let's dig into the movie now. I watched it yesterday, and I hadn't seen it probably for about 25 years.
Jeez,
Ooh.
man, I watch it
So-
every day.
So clearly not a bona fide G.I. Joe fan here. Now, if you'd have asked me prior to yesterday what my thoughts on the movie were, I would have said I don't think I even liked it as a kid. Maybe liked it a bit more as I was into my teens, then rebelled against Cobra La for a while and then got back on board. Went in yesterday expecting to maybe give it 2 stars out of 5. I came out giving it 4 stars out of 5.
Yay!
And
Yeah,
the
cheesy
reason I
fan.
credit that to 2 things. Number one, and I spoke to Ben about this offline, is I have no real sentimentality or nostalgia for that movie because
Just
I haven't actually
mentality.
watched it for ages and don't remember really watching it as a kid. So I'm almost separated from it. So it wasn't a childhood thing that suddenly I was down on. It was like a new, fresh thing. And the second thing I credit my enjoyment to is having recently reread the Tom Sholey Transformers G.I. Joe comic book series that me and S-Jubs did a podcast on. And this is very much in that mold of just being wacky, wild, balls out the bathtub crazy. And that really resonated with me. And that's why I really enjoyed it. But
Was it buzzing your berries then?
buzzing my berry, he's pumping my
You're
nuts.
lucky you got any berries left, my
Yeah,
friend.
they're in the vice. But I know a couple of guys on here might not be so keen on it, and a couple of guys might be quite high on it. So, Ben, I know you told me this is turd.
No, well, bit of context. So, Hasbro, so they made Transformers the movie, and they made, I think, My Little Pony, and they released them both at the cinema in, I think, 1986.
Yeah.
Thinking that they had a couple of hit machines on their hands, and they actually bombed. And I think the core Transformers audience were not happy with them killing Optimus Prime off, were they? But
Kids were crying in the theaters, weren't they? Apparently,
I think
Really?
G.I. Joe,
Yeah.
G.I. Joe the movie was actually kind of being made before Transformers came out, and Transformers actually stole the idea of killing Prime from killing Duke.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but then because it went down like a shit sandwich, they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh God, we can't release this at the cinema, and also we cannot kill Duke." But anyway,
Have you seen the original script for the bit where it's like when he takes the snake to the sorry, spoiler alert, guys. When Duke takes the snake to the heart, there's a whole script that actually explains what should have been the case, and a script about his funeral. And the funeral part is mind-blowingly bonkers. Like it's
Wow.
like a sci-fi kind of funeral thing where they have his coffin on like jets or something, like like kind of flying. It was honestly, it's so weird. You just have to read it.
Wow.
But it's out there. You can kind of search for it. And
But
find
what made you then not particularly like it as much as you probably
Well,
did as a kid?
yeah, I mean, I've seen it hundreds of times as a kid, and then obviously a long time without watching it. And I just think it's one of those roulette things of sometimes you go back to stuff and you wish that maybe you didn't go back to it. And I went back to it, and I just really struggled with it. But I do love the cartoon, and I do love Arise, Serpenta Arise, and Pyramids of Darkness.
Yes.
And I tended to watch those a lot more than I did the movie. Bit more boots on the ground. With the movie, I know that you like zany, but I don't necessarily think that's coming from like a super creative, amazing place. I think it's coming from more of a sort of corporate place of trying to shift toys.
Right. Well, to me, that was almost irrelevant. If it was, it came across just as bonkers storytelling, which I actually enjoyed.
Commander, they tear Cobra Commander, like they
That's
give him
brilliant.
this
Once
new
was a
backstory.
man. Was a man. That's amazing.
I guess if you treat it as like a sort of Elseworld thing, that makes it a little bit easier to take. The intro with like New York and stuff.
It's like 3 minutes.
Chris, is that a concept to a different film or a scene that was? There's no way they spent all that money.
That was going to be they did in the end for the intro, but it was going to be a scene in the film. It was going to be an opening scene where they had that battle. But what they decided to do instead was to have it as an intro instead. and it was, I mean, that would have been in like, I think, storyboard phase anyway. So like they probably it would have been an intro. It doesn't, like, as we see it now, none of that was going to be used as the battle. I think that was, the plan was that we're going to have this battle at the beginning, and that was going to lead into the kind of movie cartoon thing. I think actually it was one where Buzz Dixon had written it. He'd written as something completely different for the Joe movie, pretty much. And then that's when Hasbro came in and said, we need this, and this doing. And it was like Cobra La and all that stuff. And we need to make it so that this is... So Buzz had to like really, I don't know, like juggle his way through this new kind of write-up. And I think, that they kept that particular battle because they thought it was really cool, and they just used it for an intro instead. And that's one of the most...
Sets the scene. I mean, it's the story so far.
Is that enough filling in a mince pie or not?
Negative.
That's
too
probably
much
too
pastry.
much. Too much pastry, man.
Yeah.
Pastry needs to be thick, consistent, doesn't it, all the way around?
That looks like a sandwich, Chief.
Yeah.
Mark, where do you stand on G.I. Joe the movie?
Yeah, tell us.
Similar to you, Ben, I think. So quite a lot of nostalgic twangs to it. Sort of watching it, sort of, it's so familiar. So much of that dialogue is just, completely memorable, and you sort of almost sort of act along with it. Just classic line. And then but actually trying to watch it objectively and remove yourself as an adult. Because I've probably not watched it for the best part of 30 years or something. And you can kind of see it's a slightly more wonky. It's a lot of fun and very enjoyable, but I think probably not the greatest film as from a...
I put it in my...
We're gonna fall out. We're gonna fall out.
I probably put it in my top 5 animated movies of all time.
Easily.
And that is nothing. That is something I would never have said before yesterday.
Yeah, but I think, Chief, every time you
watch
it,
Animal Olympics,
every time you watch it, I think it would lose half a star for you.
I don't know. I just like all the characters. I mean, I love Beachhead in it. He is incredible.
But the characters don't get any. The characters. There are no characters in it, Chief. They don't get any
Renegades.
Time. They don't get any time to do anything.
I disagree. Myself, S-Jubs, weigh in.
It's untouchable thanks to nostalgia.
Right.
I can't view it objectively
there is that
at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It was my introduction to G.I. Joe in animated form. Like, the reception of G.I. Joe was very much compartmentalized in South Africa. It didn't all happen at once. Like, we had the toys, and they were the sort of latter 80s toys. And then at one lone video rental place, there was G.I. Joe the movie, which I rented so many times, I'm sure they retired it. So that was my tutorial in how to play with G.I. Joe. Problem is, I didn't have Globulus. I didn't have Pythona. I didn't have the Royal Guard. Well, no one had Pythona. But I mean, I didn't have any of the core characters of that era. I had Repeater and Shockwave. I didn't have Tunnel Rat and Big Lob. It's like, what do you do? But
I had a Big Lob.
Did you now?
No.
Anyway, it was just a fascinating return to watch it after all those years, to get it in like DVD format and then show it to my friends who I'd kind of grown up with and played G.I. Joe with, and they were like, "What? Beachhead sounds like that?"
Yeah, so it still resonates massively with you. Clearly,
yes. Look, it also it occurred to me the other day that it was, for anyone growing up at the time, that was like Cobra's first anthem and probably greatest. I mean, that opening sequence, that music, I'm sure we can all hear it in our minds now. But prior to G.I. Joe the movie...
all I can hear is the Action Force version.
Of course. Cobra's still Cobra in Action Force, Chris. Come on, baby.
Yeah, but it's the theme tune's completely different. It's just literally the Casio keyboard
Action
version.
Force is there!
Yeah. And it's instrumental for most of it as well, until like right at the end. Yeah.
Bizarre. Okay.
So I was when I was doing my research online to see what people making of it all. There was a few comments dotted about the internet saying that the Action Force version of the theme was better, and that the words "full force scan" better. And I was wondering to myself as I was reading them, are these breadcrumbs that Chris has left all over the internet somewhere?
I will say though, I think the standard series intro theme is better at Action Force. I'm not a massive fan of the kind of super laid back jazzy style of the original theme. But the Action Force, like, you know, the and like all the kind of laser sounds and stuff like that, I much prefer it. I find it like more exciting and more, and I think, you know, obviously nostalgia plays a big part in that too. But I think the G.I. Joe theme is just like, it's just so like, you know, boom, ching, boom. It's just like, you know, it just kind of like rolls along like, oh, fight for freedom, wherever. And it's just like, you know, it's okay. But then the Action Force one is like, you know, it's like really in your face and like the guy's screaming at you. Like, and it's, you know, I don't know. I prefer that. I prefer being screamed in my face than gently rolled along.
So how did this movie play when it came out? I guess straight to home video. Was it received well, or what was the response like?
Well, the video, the VHS was hugely well received. Like, it was massively popular. It sold out in UK stores. In the States was the same deal. Like, kids were trying to get hold of it, and it wasn't like difficult to get hold of because it was generally quite readily available for, like, you know, for rental, for purchase. You can mail away for it as well, I think, in some cases. So it was, yeah. I mean, I believe the actual VHS itself, and it was syndicated in the States too. So it was on, like, yeah, quite often. And I believe we got it on Sky Movies. I can't think of the date, but it would have been late 80s, early 90s, and it was the G.I. Joe version, and sometimes in some cases that half and half version where it's half dubbed and half not.
I've got a copy of that. It's very, very disconcerting. Kind of snaps me out every time when it's like,
I think
Sergeant Slammer.
I think it's round about where Duke gets the snake in his heart. I think at that point when it phases into the next, what would you call it, Stephen? Not like scene, but like the next act.
Though I think the briefing where Serpentor was telling the Stratovipers that they will be the first ones to kind of wipe out Action Force. That's pretty cool. When it flips. I'm like, okay.
So what's
incidentally my favorite sequence of the film is when the renegades.
Well, that's what I was going to say. What's
even big bad cobras need air conditioning.
What's some favorite scenes then? If even the two guys who aren't perhaps as high on it as the rest of us.
Oh, there's still. I mean, come on.
Must have some bits that still, you know, get you a bit tweaked.
Yeah, I still love it, but I've also got this other half of my brain which is saying, this is a bit silly, come on.
Yeah, but you like the Tom Sholey Transformers G.I. Joe book, and this is exactly that, just in animated rather than on the print page. I don't know.
Yeah. I think, there's
really
probably just an ideal version of the film that probably exists that sort of skews slightly closer to the comics that just doesn't exist anywhere.
Yeah, I don't like what they do with Cobra Commander at all. He's enough for me. I just don't. They should have made it. Maybe they should have made it for someone that was watching G.I. Joe for the first time and really strip it back and kind of set it all up. You know, it's very much mid-flow, isn't it? It really does feel like a continuation of the cartoon.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It cuts straight into it. But I do like all the hanging around scenes when they're in the snow.
Oh yeah,
I love all that, and then
layers,
with the BET chief, who we actually called someone that. There's stuff to like in it for sure. It's more me watching it now. I just struggle with it in a way that I don't with Transformers the movie. You know, I still buzz off of that hard.
I don't know. I think because there's been no break for me. I've watched it constantly since I was a kid.
Yeah.
I've had it on VHS and I watched it until VHS. We didn't have a VHS player pretty much, which was probably into 2001. So like I was watching that thing a lot and, you know, seeing it on TV and, you know, whatever digital. And I just haven't stopped. And I don't know what it is. I don't have that same feeling because I see it as an animated children's movie. I don't see it as something that an adult necessarily needs to. And I think that has a big aspect to it because I'm very immature. I'm very like, I'm always kind of, I think I'm always going to be the same 8-year-old kid inside. And like, I don't think that will change. I still wear Toys R Us hats and like buy toys by the
Yeah,
absolute
mate,
truckload.
you're in
Yeah.
good company right here. Come on, we're 5 old boys who play with our GI Joes. Come
But
on.
I think with regards to that, sometimes it is like that, and most of the times it is. And on this occasion, unfortunately, it wasn't, and it kind of upset me a bit. But
Maybe I
yeah.
think is there an element there where you're putting it on a pedestal from that era, and then when you come back to see it, you're like, it doesn't quite reach the potential that you thought it did. I found the same thing actually with Thundercats. I find that's like it's again intro of absolute perfection. The cartoon I don't always necessarily think lives up to that intro. Or not always. Some of the episodes are brilliant, but some of them I really struggle with. And I don't find that with Action Force or GI Joe, and I'm not sure why that's the case. There has to be something in there that there's a quality in it that speaks to me in some way, shape, or form. And that's not to say that you should accept that quality speaks to me at all. But
that's why I'm worried about Chief, because he's just come into this cold and his berries are buzzing from it. so he's got just like, holy smoke.
I think, if I may speak for you, Chief, I think perhaps you
the lady
are
will
a bit...
have the lobster.
Perhaps it's a little bit of harm or burnout. Like our primary G.I. Joe scribe, who was so responsible for this grounded G.I. Joe world, this approach that we got in the comic books that everyone is so enamored with as like the canon of G.I. Joe. Perhaps it's made you really thirst for the more outlandish takes.
Yes.
And on that note,
Chief is zany now.
Yeah, beautiful.
He is getting way more zany in his older age.
I'm surprised he doesn't have his Nike headband on, man. That's hipster deluxe. But I want to ask, where does everyone break on Cobra Law? That is the big sticking point with G.I. Joe the movie. If you hate Cobra Law, you hate the movie, that's it. It's dead.
I didn't hate it as a kid. I do remember watching it as a kid and being disappointed where it was going. I was like, oh, what's all of this? This isn't, I don't have these toys.
I think when Nemesis Enforcer hits the screen though, and he like busts open that Havoc with his elbow.
Yeah.
His elbow claw. I was
he picks it up, doesn't he?
Holy crap. Yeah, he shakes it and he grabs Snowjob by the ankle, pulls him out of the underneath the thing and throws him, and then Snowjob lands in a way that makes his ass look really sexy. Have you ever seen that before? Go back and watch that bit. There's this bit when the camera pans and Snowjob's butt's just like, ooh, check that out. It's amazing. Never confused.
Yeah, no, I think there's something in that, especially because I feel a general G.I. Joe burnout, not just from the comics. I think having, credit to
burst, isn't it?
Credit to S-Jubs and Diagnostic that they've been doing it for X amount of years. I think now having done 100 episodes of this show and having got back into action figures by buying the Joe Classified line and all that jazz.
Chief would like to announce his retirement from G.I. Joe podcasting. Happy 100, everybody.
I'm just
true.
fed up with it.
That's true. Once we get to like end of Snake Hunt, issue 275, which is probably in about 5 years'
I beg your pardon.
Careful.
You kiss your mother with that mouth.
Be careful when you say that, okay? Try and separate the words a bit, yeah? Jeez.
If you saying that the comic isn't zany enough for you at the moment?
No, I'm just saying I don't think Larry has been the best for quite a long time now, and I'm finding the issues more of a chore to read, and kind of where the place where S-Jubs was, I guess, 5, 6, 7 weeks ago, and
lost his job.
I think
trapped in a foreign country.
So watching this movie was quite invigorating. It was quite refreshing, something different, something new, and
Well, Chief, you should watch the whole cartoon. You should watch the whole show.
Yeah. Maybe that's the next podcast. No, Chris is doing that already.
Yeah,
people give G.I. Joe the movie a hard time for its zaniness, but like if you're going to go down the cartoon rabbit hole, I mean, having spores mutate the entire human race is a pretty dark and macabre master scheme.
Yep.
Gigantic vegetables, not so much. A device that controls the weather, okay. A device that can make the Eiffel Tower disappear.
Yeah.
I mean, G.I. Joe the movie does up the stakes. Say what you will about it. In terms of the base level of the cartoon, it takes it to 11. I love it.
What happened?
I love the macabre parts.
What
Chris
happened
Lauter's
post G.I. Joe
performance. It just sends chills down my spine.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Anyways, it is the most tortured voice work to this day I've ever heard. When he's exposed to the spores. No! Jeez, dude. Hardcore.
Yeah. And then when
Anyways,
that roadblock thing when they teams up to get away. That's all fantastic story.
Tell me, man, what's going down?
Oh Jesus, this is wild.
faceplate
like
falls
I
away.
I can't get there. I just can't get there with it.
Come on, help
Now-
him finish off.
But what happened post this movie? Was there another season of the cartoon, or was that it?
I wanted to ask this question. This is where Sunbow ends. So,
No
gentlemen,
surprise.
off the bat of G.I. Joe the movie, like if you were to try and come up with where does the G.I. Joe series go from there?
Fucking Snake Land. I don't know.
Crazy.
Did you never see the Deke?
Commander-
Did you never see the Deke series, Ben?
No, I did not.
Because
Good.
not really. That follows up from the film. Cobra Commander is restored back to his human form,
Of course.
and Scoop is an undercover Cobra agent who then defects to GI Joe. There's lots, but the actual series itself is so low quality. Like the animation kind of drops a little bit. The storylines, the voice acting, it all kind of goes a little bit south.
or north. Production moved to Canada, and that's why they cheaped out, man.
I love Don Johnson as Lieutenant Falcon, though. That's wild.
This is what I want to ask. Like, if there had been a Sunbow season immediately following G.I. Joe the movie, what Deke did, Chris, I'm sure you'll agree, is it quickly eroded everything that the movie had kind of set as a precedent. It quickly returned to a base level of G.I. Joe versus Cobra, no Cobra Law, and Cobra Commander's back in charge. I mean, it completely disregards his mutant Snake Man origin, because you can see in the eye slits he's a human again. Anyways, if we had Falcon at the helm, Jinx is his girl, Duke possibly dead, I don't know, if they'd stuck to their guns and kept him killed off, what then?
Yeah. Interesting.
I think it'd have been really cool, honestly. Again, Buzz Dixon has written a book or an episode to follow on from the movie, and I think it's called
The Most Dangerous Man in the World?
That's it. Most Dangerous Man in the World. And that's really cool. That's a lot of fun as well. And you could see where he wanted to go with the cartoon, where it didn't go.
Yeah.
Seriously.
G.I. Joe 1988.
No, I was just looking at some questions. We had a load of questions come in from the listeners, and one of them was related to who would you voice? Yorktown Joe actually said, if the group did voiceovers for a G.I. Joe cartoon episode, which character would each of you want to voice?
I've got mine.
Okay, go on.
Thrasher.
I was going to say probably a Dreadnought for me. Don't know which one, but they just seem like the easiest one.
I'd be Thrasher because I want to go, Serrano, I didn't know it was you. That's what
were you doing that while Kate was cosplaying? Hey, Chris.
Yes, constantly.
Take the time.
That is a great line. Seriously.
And she threw me in the water as well.
Beautiful.
What would you do, Chief?
Oh, don't know.
Roadblock, probably like rhyming. I don't know.
Well, I did do a Roadblock jingle with S-Jubs, Block and
There
Blood.
you go. You probably just do the entire intro sequence and write a few songs. You just score the whole thing.
Write the theme tune, sing the theme
Yeah.
tune.
That was actually another question. What's your favourite jingle? Because I counted up. I think there's been over 20 jingles on Talking Joe.
Blimey.
And it seems like I hogged all the limelight of singing them all.
couldn't get you out of the booth.
Beats for me on some of them, but yeah, I don't know. As a point of fact, has anyone got a favourite jingle?
Action
of
Figure
mine?
Fiasco. Action Figure
That's
Fiasco.
not a jingle. That's a song.
Yeah, for the sheer audacity and ghoul of playing the full
That's a single,
thing
mate.
every episode.
time.
Every episode, yeah, you get the 2.5-minute song every episode.
That 15-second button is just getting mashed, I reckon. They're like, I've hit it 3 times. but
I
it's
love the
still
music
going.
video that accompanies it as well.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh,
Friggin' green screen.
version 1 music video. There's a
Oh, are
few
you doing the
different
second one, are you?
versions. I like the first one. Jeez.
Right.
Very Partridge. It's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's so Partridge.
Class.
Damn.
We
I
had
think-
quite a lot of people liking the comic talk jingles and the toy talk jingles. I think
And Snack Attack.
Police.
Oh,
yeah,
Snack
Snack
Attack.
Attack.
attackers. Yeah.
That Snack Attack is my favourite, and it will always be my favourite because it's the single greatest achievement of my entire life.
Good one.
Snack Attacker. I was when you, because you only sent me the lyrics. You just sent me like you singing this song, and I'm like, this needs some sort of like, you know, like motorbike revving, like, you know, getting faster and faster kind of thing. And then I was playing through like some key software instrument keyboard sounds, and I'm like, there you go, there it is. Oh, and I was like getting really excited doing it. It was like, usually I'm just like, oh god, I'm like, I have to listen to Chief again. And this one I'm
He
like,
pumps them out. Jesus, Chris. I mean,
I was getting a
this
message
guy-
every week, and he was like, I know you're editing the show right now, but can you squeeze this jingle in? I'm like, you son of a. 3 hours later, after like compiling this, like, you know, like trying to find the instrumental for Club Tropicana or whatever it was that I used for retro gaming.
Oh yeah,
Gaming.
Retro gaming.
In fact, I just think I used the intro to it. I don't think it's an instrumental. I think it's just the intro before it kicks in.
And of no help to you is once S-Jubs came on, I actually started sourcing the background music then. So
You douchebag.
have you got any favourites, Mark?
Just said Snack Attack beverage for the show.
Beverage
that
would
for
be,
the show. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
One that once I had the podcast, I'd be sort of just walking down the road to myself.
Chief, you know you can self-release stuff. You could release this stuff.
Release this album, yeah.
Yeah.
Might need a little bit of auto tune at times, but apart from that,
There was one I was doing, and I kept pinging it to S-Jubs, and you kept saying, no, you need to go a little bit higher. You need to go a little bit higher. And I did one, and he says, oh, that's too high. You need to come down there.
dude, yeah, he had his
Brilliant.
nuts in a vice for
Which
sure.
one was that?
time.
I can't remember.
That was the Men in Black, whatever it was.
Oh, MVP.
MVP, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to sing that now, for sure. I was trying to find who sent that question in, but I can't find it. Oh, it was Mate Mylar. It's actually Mate Mylar, a friend of the show. Mate
I
Mylar.
tell you what, if you released that album, it would be like one of those now 4 tape cassette jobs, wouldn't it? Like it would be an absolute heft of an album.
Yeah, because each 30-second jingle would have to get beefed out into like a 3-minute tune. So
Which is no problem for you.
I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to that edit.
I look forward
Well,
to the cover and the sleeve notes.
I said offline, I don't know if it was to Ben or S-Jubs, about a week ago, I think I said, my plan for 100 is I'm going to write a full song. I'm going to get each one of the co-hosts to sing one of the verses. And then
Like We Are the World.
yeah.
Imagine there's a podcast.
Well, that never
It's
happened.
Talking
Chief.
No, never
Joe.
happened, no.
It's Talking Comics. It could work.
What are the questions you got there, Chief?
All right. Well, have you got them to hand as well, Funky Bunch? Because I'm struggling to find the email.
Well, we
So
did-
what's new?
Yeah.
Oh, Chief.
This is from Gary. Gary says, what character do you guys feel is the most overlooked in regards to story potential? I'm going to go first. I'm going to say Hit and Run because I think he had such amazing like an amazing write-up in the file card that never really got fleshed out. Not that that needs to be fleshed out at all, but like his personality never really got fleshed out. He was in a few special missions, but not really like, he's not really utilized that often. And I kind of feel
Takes the prize for the most tragic code name of all. When his
Big
parents
time.
killed in a car accident,
Yep.
and he's called Hit and Run.
Yep.
Mind you,
Oh, burn.
skid mark's
Damn.
pretty tragic as well.
Skip mark, yeah.
Or trademark in the UK, as I
But
always
do you
say.
feel like figures from that era did get lots of time and attention, or is he just one of many from that time?
Well, he's one that I think I would personally would love to see more of.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot that didn't get.
Lightfoot.
Yeah.
Come on, Chris.
Well, Lightfoot, funny enough, like
Hurt
people
Locker.
people do like associate that with me because I make it as like a personal joke. I cosplayed as him because I thought it would make an amazing cosplay. Like there's so much like ridiculous like aspects, like the robot drone. And the reason I even decided to do a Lightfoot cosplay was because we went into Toys R Us and they had a Nerf Terror Scout on the shelf, and I was like, I really want that. But I couldn't. I was kind of thinking, what the hell am I going to use a Nerf Terror Scout for? Which is like a remote-controlled, like gun, like fires Nerf bullets, and it's got a camera on it, and you can control all this stuff, and you can see it, and you can drive it off, and like stay where you are, and drive it round areas where you don't see it anymore, but you've got a camera on it, so you can. It's amazing. So I was thinking, that
Does
would
it
make
have a tank tread to it?
yeah,
Is
it's
that-
got the tank treads and it like
Fucking
that you can
brilliant.
spin and do all. It's amazing. It's an incredible toy and it's massive as well. And I thought that would be perfect for Lightfoot's drone, like his little mine detector drone.
Oh
And I
yeah, dude. As mind blowing as the cosplay was, the drone just pushed it over the top, man.
Well,
So
that was the only
was-
reason. That was the only reason. And then Kate made the helmet, which is just unreal. Like I don't know. She went into the garage for like. Well, sorry, she went into the garage for like a week, and then she came out. And
shed?
there you go. And I'm like, what the? Where? How? Like I remember you. Like she wrapped this. She wrapped like cling film and taped around my head to get the shape of my head, and that was the last I saw of her. For 2 weeks or a week. And then she comes out of the garage and she's like, there you go. And I'm like, wow. So like, yeah, that was mind blowing. But the reason, I'm sorry, the reason I'm talking about Lightfoot is because that was the only reason he's become such kind of close to me is been in later years. I love the figure as a kid, but like that, it wasn't like, I wasn't thinking, oh, Lightfoot needs more time. Now I do. But, for me, I would say hit and run for myself.
Right.
Chief?
Anyone else?
I got one. I think the
Shockwave.
character with the most untapped potential should be obvious. Mercer.
Shockwave. Oh, right. Sorry.
Has anyone done Mercer? It's
Oh,
like
you love Mercer.
Mercer
it's like
was
G.I.
in.
Joe Cobra, but in reverse.
Yeah, he
no
was
one's
in.
ever told the story of a true believer, Cobra
Get him in the
agent.
film?
Yeah, but we don't
Want
get his
more?
origin story, his
Okay.
defection from Cobra,
Yeah.
and survival as a defector.
Well,
and the
dude, you
fact
need
that,
to
like,
get on that. You could do that.
He's- I suppose, but I mean, not mainstream enough, Ben. Not
Do you know-
mainstream enough.
The only other time I've seen him that have any kind of decent time was in Special Missions Manhattan with Beachhead Tunnel Rat, Cover Girl, Low Light, and
Good
they infiltrate
crew.
this. They infiltrate this. This is why I love the Special Missions aspect. And this isn't Special Missions Marvel. This is Special Missions like. Hang on, Image,
Devil's
Devil's
Due,
Due, IDW.
Devil's
I
Due.
can't remember one of those. Devil's Due, yeah. And they infiltrate this Manhattan high rise. They're the only the way they kind of did the beginning, the intro was that they're selecting the people that were near that area.
Okay.
So like that's why it's such a ragtag bunch of randoms. But Mercer's in that, and he's
Sleeper
really
cells.
cool. And I'm just thinking like, yeah, I want to see all of these characters that didn't get the shine because the core characters always took the glory. That's why Special Missions speaks to me so strong, because you always get some like random characters thrown in there and they get some time, and it's like, wow, that's why they're a specialist in that field, and I kind of really enjoy that. But yeah, Mercer.
Do you
big
feel like
time.
Mercer should be a card-carrying G.I. Joe? Or do you feel like they should keep him on a short leash? I mean, this guy could
short leash
turn
yeah.
tails any moment. Like, that's why he was a renegade. That's why he was never an official G.I. Joe. That's why he was under Slaughter's or Slammer's direct supervision. It's because
Do you know the
we
French
don't know
called
if
him
we're trusting this
Sergeant
guy
Driller?
out.
Do you know the French called him Sergeant Driller? Isn't that amazing?
Which nation was it that Captain Gridiron was Captain Rugby? Oh, yeah. That spoke to me as a South African lad, let me tell you. Oh, I want to get Captain Rugby. Lekker.
I always
Sapper
thought
then.
Ja, my bro.
I always thought that
Ek's 'n Suid-Afrikaner, my bro.
in a Rise Serpentor Rise, Lowlight gets thrown like a grenade by Monkey Wrench, and he throws it away before it blows up. But he says something along the lines of, I prefer rugby, and like throws it away.
Yes.
And I always thought, because it was an Action Force cartoon, that they'd overdubbed rugby for like American football or something. And it turns out no, it was always rugby in the American one as well. So yeah, I thought that was quite interesting.
Well, didn't Bush and Clinton play rugby? I mean, it's a posh American sport.
You just expect baseball to be mentioned every 5 seconds, or yeah.
Football. Guys, I'm just gonna have to go and get another beer.
Yeah, do it. I'd like to have seen more Scrap Iron or Wild Weasel, I think.
Scrap Iron's got a pretty nifty feature in a Rise Serpentor Rise. He's kind of the turnkey character. So,
funny enough, they both get
curious.
good
Go down that
sunbow.
rabbit hole, Chief.
Okay.
They get good sunbow time. Wild Weasel's in Primordial Plot. He's in featured, because he's the one that kind of flies in and steals the dinosaur bones, the fossils and stuff. Yeah, that is an incredibly ridiculous episode. Talking of like the fantastical aspects of G.I. Joe, but yeah.
But they don't get much. They don't get much comic stuff, really. Wild Weasel gets issue 34.
34. Yeah.
But
has Wild Weasel ever been unmasked in any way?
Are you asking if we got a Weasel out? But yeah, I think I can't think of any time that he's had his mask off. No, his helmet off.
He's about as anonymous as you get. Jeez. Okay.
What about you, Mark?
He's waiting to happen. Yeah, Mark. Let's have your answer.
There's so many, because apart from that core cast, sort of left a little bit in the dust, aren't they? But like Firefly in his proper saboteur kind of role, that would have been nice to see a bit more of. I've got a real soft spot for Cesspool, because I think it's just such a cool design.
Brilliant
Massive
design.
logo.
Chief, you love a cesspool now, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the comics, he was just played a little bit as a ridiculous sort of comedic caricature, really.
Yeah. How gruesome is that scar on the toy as well? Like, it's just amazing, isn't
brilliant.
it?
Yeah,
One of
we
my
dug
favourites.
the toy out recently, and it's fantastic. He's brilliant. Yeah.
The head sculptor is Vinny D'Oliva, who was the one of my marketing guys on G.I. Joe at the time. And he dressed up as Cesspool for a commercial that never actually aired as well. So he was going to be Cesspool as well for the G.I. Joe commercial. There's like a picture of him as Cesspool, like all geared up, ready to go. And for some reason, I can't remember the ins and outs of it, but that particular commercial never aired. But yeah, I thought that was really fun.
Cesspool is such a rancid name. It's just poo.
Shit.
Anyway, what actually happened here?
Guess what their vehicle was called, Ben? Come on, guess.
Oh, forget. What?
Think about what in Britain we would call a refuse kind of zone under a house, for example.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Well, think of what a his tank is called, and it's half of that.
What?
What's a his tank? What's half of a his tank?
Put him out of his misery. Come on, Chief.
Come on, put me out. What is it, Chief?
It's a something tank. What could it be?
Rhyming slang.
I don't know.
When something gets infected, it goes...
Chris,
Septic.
you're killing me.
Septic tank.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, you could put half a pound of Dundee cake down there.
I should have gone with that. I
Should have gone with Partridge.
I should have gone with the Partridge. I should have gone with that. Man.
All gone. One flush.
One flush.
Nice.
Buck Rogers toilet.
I saw an advertisement for septic tanks, the real deal, and the tagline was, "We handle your shit."
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Literally, yeah. Yeah, nice.
I love this house. It's got a Buck Rogers toilet.
I might do a Partridge rewatch, actually.
I love it when he's just on that episode when he's looking at the sink and he's like, "What is that?" And he's like, "Get rid of it." just to the estate agent.
Isn't he said, what is that? It's a bidet. He says, "Get rid of it."
You could swing a cat in here.
Okay, the next question then is there are many characters that exist in the comics that never made it into the toy line. Characters like Dawn Moreno, Cool Breeze, BN001, Mangler, Pale Peony, just to name a few. For each host, what is your number one pick for a comic character that needs to be in the toy line?
I'm going to pass on this one because I
Hate G.I. Joe and don't want to do this podcast anymore.
because
You like the guy from issue 2. What's his name?
Quinn.
Yeah, you love him.
He's
Don't
got an
you?
action figure.
Oh, bugger.
Eventually.
He's
Not
got
the-
two. He's got a vintage inspired.
Oh, I was just
modern
thinking of
version as
the
well.
original line, Sozza.
Well, they made him.
Yeah,
Made him.
my pick's been made as well, but certainly growing up, I was very, very, very remiss that I didn't have the October Guard.
Yeah, for sure.
Larry made a big deal about them being this third faction.
They didn't want to make Russians, dude. Not a chance.
They probably didn't want to pay him royalties for characters that were, his brainchild.
Yeah, what's
Quinn,
interesting is
October Guard.
we got Big Bear and Red Star later on, didn't we? And they're like kind of almost additional characters.
They were kind of
Hasbro
analogs.
originated.
Yeah, they were analogs to what Larry had created, but
Agreed. Yeah.
different enough to not run into any kind of rights confusion.
Yeah.
I think I would have liked
Hasbro, man.
I think growing up collecting, Billy would have been cool for that era.
Once again, a Larry original.
Right?
The only Billy we've had is the FSS one, wasn't it? Which was the not the Marvel Billy, but the one where he's got the kind of
Devil's
grown
Due.
up.
The Devil's Due,
Devil's
yeah,
Due.
that's right.
Stuff. Yeah, I
eye
said this
patch.
one when the question came up on Twitter. Had a look at that one, but yeah, my pick probably apart from October Guard for sure, but Billy as well. That when I was playing back in the day as a youngster, 28 years old, was I used the V1 Storm Shadow with where the Cobra logo had been worn off due to play.
Brilliant.
And used that as Billy, so I was able to have two Storm Shadows.
What you're telling us is you rubbed one off.
Do you still have Storm Shadow version 1?
No, got very few of my originals because my brother got rid
I'd
of
have sold them all.
big eBay cow.
You've got a Storm Shadow version 1, haven't you, Chief?
Negative.
You didn't sell him, did you?
No,
In the Purge?
couldn't find him. He's probably in your house somewhere.
He's bloody not.
Yoink.
He's not. Because you did sell some, didn't you, recently? But
Did
you
sell
kept
some recently,
You kept like the ones that you felt passionately about.
Kept the ones that were my favourites, or series 1 or 2. I kept.
Yeah.
Which were
So what do
the
you reckon
ones
you
that
got?
only
10?
the only ones that really meant anything to me, but sold the rest. Yeah, I've got a few. I've still got the Stalker.
Lovely.
And my favourite,
Yeah,
the Mutt.
Mm.
I've got Airborne and Firefly still.
Have you got Junkyard? Or did he
No.
not? No,
No, I think he's in your house.
he could be.
I'm trying to think of like characters that are in the comics that didn't
Oh, he's
get
got Junkyard.
toys is actually really difficult. And I think the ones that the whoever asked the question, I don't think there's a name attached to it. It might have been Gary. That list of characters is pretty much all I can think of as well. And I would have to say that I think Cool Breeze would have been a cool one to have. Like I know he wasn't in it very long, and he was pretty much created to be sacrificed. But
Yeah.
I kind of his design is very much like Apone from the Alien toy line. I'm not sure if you have ever seen that kind of comparison, but like
Plus,
He
those
looks-
wicked cyber arms. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got
His
like
outfit
live
is
felt.
buck wild. Yeah.
He's
Live
out.
written all over him.
He's out there as a character that was in the comic and sort of as a one and done and killed because it very much feels like he could have been a toy, whereas a lot of the other characters, are more looking like
very
civilians.
basic. Yeah.
Sort of
He had a
the likes
frickin'
of
sword.
Mangler was just a guy
Yeah,
in an
Manga was
army.
just like a cheap chuckles, wasn't he? Basically, he couldn't afford the Hawaiian shirt, so they.
That's
Yeah.
a good issue. That's a good issue, though.
Bless you.
Hmm.
There's a few
Good
others. There
feature
was
for
like
Lightfoot.
Soft Master, Blind Master.
Yeah.
You know.
What else
some
we
of
got?
those
We got
secondary
any other good? We got any other good questions, or are they all garbage?
They're all shit. What is your all-time favorite issue or story arc out of the comic? Starting with Mark on this one. Go, Mark.
I think it's the issue 31. Have I got it here?
All fall down, is it?
All fall down with that big shootout in the cabin.
That's where.
Nice.
That's the. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, they assault. Is it? Who's it? It's Destro, Firefly, and Fred,
That's right. Yeah.
and they attack the cabin. You'd have been on that episode, Ben, when we covered
Yeah,
that.
that's a good.
You can't remember that one.
Yeah, I can remember that.
All right.
It's not that good.
Your favourite, I know your favourite used to be Cobra Civil War.
Yeah, not anymore. It'd be way before that now.
Okay.
Which is the issue where you've got Cobra Commander flying around on the glider?
24.
Yeah, 24. But it's part of what is it? Two-parter?
No, it's that
It's
Russ
earlier
Heath
than that.
illustrated issue.
22.
Such a
24,
classic.
Yeah, and who does Storm Shadow like?
The commander escapes.
That's it.
Storm Shadow's involved, and who does he? Mac, someone in the
Gung-
tree.
Oh, he takes out Gung Ho, and then
Yes.
Roadblock lays him out.
That's a good issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very realistic art style. Russ Heath was responsible for the sort of design sheet for the Sunbow animation. So he
okay.
set the looks of the vehicles, equipment, and characters for the animators to then work off of.
Chief, what's your favorite?
tone.
It's pretty boring. I guess it's single issue, probably 34, which is the Sky Striker versus the Rattler dogfight.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Always loved that one. Issues 26 and 27, the Snake Eyes Origin, probably one of my favourites. And then I've got a big soft spot for the Return of the Commander, which is like whatever it is, 98 to 100, something like that, 97 to 100, where the Cobra troops, they go into Millville, and with a big, a good use or a good inclusion of the brainwave scanner, which generally you can mark out 90% of all brainwave scanner appearances as being turd. This was actually, I enjoyed this one. So
Yeah.
What about
Good splash of Cobra Commander kicking a dog.
brilliant.
what about Space Patrol or something a little bit more?
Star Brigade.
Yeah,
Space
a bit more zany.
Space Patrol.
Space
Those are
Force.
very,
Like when you called
those
me
are very-
Story Master on one of the episodes.
they're very
You
boots
kind
on
of
the
went Dungeons and
ground.
Dragons.
What's happening here?
Yes, Space
There you go.
Patrol. No, probably not. No.
Okay.
It's
Eco
like,
Warriors?
it's like Paw Patrol in space is what
Yeah,
I thought it was.
yeah. Diagnostic.
Okay, so single issue would probably have to be the second silent issue because
Oh yeah, you love that one.
I
85.
just love that issue for
SFX.
yeah, because I think it's version 2 Storm Shadow, I believe, as well, isn't it? So like I love that version of design, and he's kind of my default Storm Shadow, honestly. Because I'm way more G.I. Joe than I am Cobra. I'm always more good guy than I'm bad guy, and I not in real life, but just like in my preference for this. But just as an issue, it's just so beautifully done, and like I feel like it's even more I feel like it's even better in terms of how the storytelling moves and how the panels merge into each other, more so than 21. And but that's just my personal opinion. And then in terms of like an arc, would have to be Civil War. I really enjoyed Civil War, and it's one of those ones again. It's got a nostalgic attachment because it was slightly reprinted in holiday specials in the UK. So that was one of the first Larry Hammer kind of things I was really into and wanted to know more about. And it had the Cobra Island map in the back of the special as well. So it was kind of like those kind of things as a kid made you want, it kind of built the imagination even more, and you could pick teams to kind of infiltrate different points of the island, and you could like apply that to play patterns when you go out with your mates and dress up in your army gear and kiss but like do that kind of stuff. So that is one of the that Civil War is an arc, and
that holds up. that holds up really well still anyway, Civil War, because like you said, we hadn't seen it. We hadn't really seen it much in comics in general, where you're taking one force, in this instance, the bad guys, and you're actually breaking them up into a couple of separate forces. So now you've got a triumvirate of two Cobras and a Joe, and like you
three.
said, like you said, which Joe teams you can put them into a recon team, whatever. I don't know what other teams there would be, but recon 1, recon 2,
football team, basketball team,
the A team, demolition team, and all that. But, it could be informed play and stuff as well. So I like that choice. S-Jubs?
I want to be at loggerheads with Ben on this one because I know he doesn't like General Douche. But in terms of an arc, I don't think you can call it an arc, but I don't think you can touch the first 10 issues of G.I. Joe for me.
Wow.
Just the purity of it is so satisfying. When all those concepts were fresh, yeah, I kind of wished almost that we just got a little bit more time to play in that world before issue 11 came and ripped the roof off, like with new characters. And, that became the order of the day. Like every 5 or so issues, we'd get a complete refresh. I'm like, no, I'm so involved in the lives of these 13 original Joes, and their interplay is so strong. Like that groundwork was so good. And then of necessity, because this is a toy book, Larry had to disregard all of that and then start inserting new guys.
Yeah, someone did the maths on that in one of the letter pages that we read recently, and it was certainly more than one per issue on average in terms of the number of new characters being introduced. So it was, a very regular drumbeat. Actually, one of the questions we were asked was if you were going to start reading where would you recommend that new readers start reading G.I. Joe if they've never read before?
Issue 1, no?
Well,
General Douche.
with General Douche. My recommendation might have been possibly 21 onwards, because those first issues are enjoyable, and they create that world, but they are quite different to how it then progresses from the rest of that art with the change of artists, so Wiggum joining and all the rest of it. It feels quite and that move away from those original the original team of Joes. It feels like a very different book. And actually, when it was launched in the UK, wasn't it? It was started with issue, was it 23 or something, with the one with the Zartan and the moccasin on the cover. And when I've started reading,
Cobra Commander falling into quicksand, unfortunately, like the direction the book took was this kind of pantomime villainy, whereas like back in the first 10 issues, Cobra Commander was dangerous. He was an unknown element.
He's Bond villain, wasn't he?
Exactly.
Yeah, I know that you like him when he is terrifying, Chief, and not a clown.
I like.
Yeah,
but then you also like him when he's a snake. So.
I'm happy to go either way, and Snake. Yeah, I'm happy. I like him when he's villainous and plotting the death of others. I like him when he is a little bit pantomimey, but I don't like the in-between bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Swanker. Sorry, in-betweeners joke. So, I have to agree with that actually. But I think if you're going to read, where do you start? Just start at number 1. It's easy because it's there in the number. You'll get everything like just from starting at number 1. But I would actually start at 155
art style is something that I miss so much. Sorry, 155 and a half.
Yeah, start there. Start there and work your way backwards. It's trippy. It's so weird.
But Sentimental Steve just wants to chime in and say that like G.I. Joe makes sense. Firstly, as a late Cold War medium, and secondly, with like Herb Trimpe or Dave Fosberg's kind of Kirby-ish art style. Everything's kind of like a little bit. Sorry, Mike Fosberg. Jeez, I've been off the podcast for like 2 months, and oh man, it's all come apart. Names. Yeah, but it just feels so much more authentic. I don't know if G.I. Joe works in a current setting. I mean, Chris, you'd probably fight me on that, man, because it is constantly being updated. We could do some sparring. That'd be kind of fun.
Kick my ass.
the knife fight. I was gonna say, like, who's got the biggest reach? because I've done an exercise where I was in a
Get the
production of
spready
West
out,
Side
Chief.
Story. Yeah, I was in a production of West Side Story, and we each got white T-shirts and a permanent marker, and we sort of experienced what it would be like to be in a one-on-one knife
No
fight.
one's coming out of a knife fight like
Uncut,
on
of
top.
course.
Yeah, like it's
No.
like if you're going into a knife fight with somebody, which is the weirdest fucking thing to do. If you see if someone pulls a knife on you and you've got a knife, just run away, because
Yeah.
a knife fight does not like, and people will say this in like the military and like martial artists and all sorts. They say that if you're going to get into close quarters combat, you're better off not having the weapon. You're better off trying to disarm the person with it, or like, do you know what I mean? Like, rather than actually fighting each other with a knife, which is never going to end well, because you're both going to be in close proximity. You're both going to just be going nuts. You're both going to end up very
leaking.
It's going to be like low percentages, isn't it? Basically, all the movies have made everyone think that you can be good in a knife fight, but it's just wrong.
So Chris is
Stabbing
going to
the
win
too
this
real.
basically because he's going to run the hell away and get his
the tank.
Mammy shotgun. Yeah, exactly.
Get the septic tank.
I'm sure Chief's got all of our body dimensions logged in his Talking Joe spreadsheet.
Wait, you told me that was for
Wingspan.
research.
He wasn't always asking for jingles. Sometimes he'd ask for.
Yeah, sometimes for
lengths of things.
DPs.
What are you weighing in at the moment, Ben?
Yeah, I'm coming in at 91.2 kgs this morning. My target is 84. So
What's your fighting weight?
problem is, I'm eating 4 mince pies a day, and that's 1,000 calories straight on mince pies. That's not good.
All you're eating though.
Yeah, no.
So what's your optimum fighting weight, Chief?
Probably
Need some
about
of this
86.
lean meat in you, baby.
Biltong?
Yes, sir.
Biltong,
Staffers,
biltong,
they love
and,
their meat.
biltong
You
and
know
wine at 12 p.m. Yeah, 12 a.m.
Party time.
I thought it was a bowl of
Springbok.
scrotums for a second there.
You had Springbok.
Scrotums.
S
Dried
jobs.
scrotum. Yeah, of course.
Yeah?
Mhm.
Tasty.
It's a bit chewy. Mhm.
Gamey. It's very lean.
Mhm.
Yeah, as could be expected from a small buck. I've had reindeer as well. It's probably a lot similar to reindeer, actually.
What did you call me? Gary has also asked us, what is your favorite moment from the show? I guess he means Talking Joe, not the G.I. Joe cartoon.
Yeah.
Just
So Gary-
probably just having Chief exposed to a couple of hundred people every week is just good to know.
I've got a spready here.
Oh God!
Oh, goodness.
Didn't we get into the triple digits, Chief? Surely.
Triple digits
Not
of
triple
what?
digits. 4 digits. Not just a couple of hundred people.
A couple
Ben.
of thousand people. A couple of
I
thousand.
don't know
go,
about that.
matey.
I mean, when we started it, we said we'd be happy if 50 people were listening.
You weren't, though, because you messaged me saying, how'd you get more listeners?
Yeah, I did.
But that was actually interesting, because that was the first time we really spoke to each other. And you messaged me out of the blue, I remember, on like Twitter or something like that. And you said, it was really nice, because you kind of like said, you know, like, I see that you've done like, I don't know how many downloads it was on Podbean. And I was like, mate, I put out like 100 episodes a week. Like there's it's only 5 people listen to it. It's just that the downloads build up because there are so many episodes. But you were like, how do you get this many, people? And I was like, just
Jingles.
yeah, it's all about jingles. It's all about jingles. And
I
then-
blame you.
Yeah, and then you went away and wrote every jingle ever made.
You wrote a hit album.
So this
Versace
is
Prada.
some bits from the show. We started question for the show that started on episode 3, so that's been going for 97 episodes. The first question from
Good
the show
maths.
was, is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
On topic.
I remember that.
Other questions we've covered. Favorite burger joint. How much would you pay to see Arsenal win the league?
Yeah, we were really appealing to the G.I. Joe audience in those early episodes.
Venn diagram of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
What transformer is Ben? Do you like your soup smooth or
Lambo.
chunky?
Smooth.
What's your favourite chocolate bar? What's the best soccer formation? What's your favourite Star Wars alien?
You didn't ask that question. I must have missed that episode.
Which one?
Soccer formation.
Yep, that is episode. Go back and listen to it. It's
Midfield diamond.
Yeah.
I can't remember where it is. It's there somewhere.
It's just very fluid now. There's multiple formations in a game, Chief.
What's your favourite console controller? What's your favourite stretch? Who's your favourite Avenger?
Oh, that's
What's
a dangerous one. Favorite stretch for me is a dangerous one. You don't want to be asking me that on a show.
The
I think
reach around.
Your first question was, "What's your favourite?" Oh no, the first one I gave to Diagnostic was, "What are the 4 UK pedestrian crossings?"
Pelican, zebra, toucan, and
Toucan.
sugar
Another
plums.
bird.
Dead air is a crime.
It's another bird that begins with P.
Penis.
Yes, penis crossing.
I'd said pelican, so penguin.
No,
I can't think.
puffin.
Ah, my bad.
What's your favourite way to cook a potato? I'll tell you what. There's another one here. What's the most satisfying stretch? So I gave that to Ben, and then I must have forgot, and I was desperate for another answer. So I
Well,
gave
it's
it
the
to
big questions, isn't it? You know.
I
It's
don't
okay.
remember. I don't remember answering that.
Okay.
I think that's a mistake.
Who's your favourite Looney
Yeah,
Tune?
I'm calling bullshit.
Who's your favourite what?
Looney Tune.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Favourite pop culture tandems. Random. Oh, there's one random comic ad questions where I just forgot to write a question, so I just opened up a random comic book and gave you some questions. It was like a half an
And
hour
then it
segment
gave rise
of
to
you
a
just
jingle, didn't it?
It was just half an hour segment of Chris just trying to name basketball playing cards, trading cards.
I remember that was fun, man. I used to love that.
Um,
The audience didn't, but I absolutely loved it.
no. I'm not going to read out all the colloquialisms we covered because we covered a lot. That was probably one of my favourite segments of the whole show. Love
You
the
wanker.
colloquialisms. And obviously, I know Ben's favourite
You
moment of the
chop.
show when I went inside my mind to talk about my motorbike journey.
Oh no, yeah, your motorbike journey in the rain was absolute
Stuff of
classic.
legends.
With the gloves in the petrol station, and the guy just looking at you.
Looking at me like
That was-
thunder.
That was obscene, and you just spent the whole day doing tabletop gaming, hadn't you?
Hey, a whole day
Sounds-
doing tabletop gaming. Then when I went to leave the house to come home, it was an hour and a half motorbike ride home, and as soon as I got onto the motorway, my petrol light came on, and I realised that I'm going to be out of petrol, no fuel gauge on my motorbike. So I knew that gave me about 10 miles when the light comes on, but it was 12 miles till I could get to the next junction to come off the motorway. So I was like, what do I do now? I put it into the highest gear possible, go 30 miles an hour to keep the revs down. But the problem was the rain was forcing
You went
me...
straight to a spreadsheet on it.
Yeah,
And your navigation
Yeah.
gave you a different direction.
Just a question about motorbikes. Is it normal not to have a fuel gauge?
no, I mean, no, it's modern ones will now have fuel gauges, but I think mine's like a 2003 model. Sorry, 2003 model.
Hey, careful, Chief.
But yeah, that's the one where I went into the petrol station with my gloves. I took the glove off to get my credit card out to pay, and then because my glove was so wet, I couldn't get my hand back in the glove. So I was
You need a
riding the
wooden
motorbike with
spoon.
the glove half off.
Didn't it pull the lining out or something?
No, well, anyway, no. Go back and listen.
Whatever.
To it. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Well,
was a good yarn.
I listened to it twice, I think, because I was walking. I just dropped off the missus' car to get some repairs done, and I was walking home, and this story was what kicked off the episode of Talking Joe, and I was like, that's amazing. I'm gonna go back and listen to it again. It was just bonkers.
I think though, just to get a little bit sentimental, I think
Uh-oh.
the show has
Don't cry.
been really good. Do you know what I mean? I think the fact that we've had amazing guys. So Ben, obviously, for the first whatever, and then not 1 week when he left, there wasn't a 1 week gap where we missed a show because I messaged up Diagnostic and said, look, need someone to come on. You're gonna have to do all the work. All I'm going to do is show up and record.
I'm used to that.
It's all on you. And he's like, yeah, fine, I'll do it. And I was like, what a legend. So we didn't even miss a week. And then when Chris departed and S-Jubs came on, again, same thing, didn't miss a week. And then same thing with Mark. So I've always said, whoever's presenting Talking Joe, it's 50-50. It's it's not one person's show. It's always a collaboration. So
Apart from Jingles.
we've been blessed as a apart from the Jingles, yeah.
90-10.
That is not a collaboration.
We've been blessed as a podcast. No one came to me though and said, "Oh, Chief, can I do a jingle?" If they'd have said that, I'd have said absolutely not. But
Probably because of the workload I was under.
You're
to
like
be honest, mate.
we're like the other guy in Wham, the one that's not
Andrew
George
Ridley.
Michael. Or the guy that in Hall and Oates. One of them just doesn't do anything. We're that guy.
But no,
Oats.
it's been the show's evolved massively. Like I know S-Jubs, you've got episodes 1 to 24 hard downloaded on your device.
More than that,
show,
Chief. Don't tell anyone.
The show evolved from like me and Ben doing it, and it was just a couple of goons not knowing much about G.I. Joe rambling on.
Certainly was that.
Not much
Yeah.
to it, and then we added.
That
all
was
these
its
other
oddball
segments
charm. Here I was sitting on top of a pile of knowledge, listening to you noobs rediscovering it. It was like, this is so quaint. This is so beautiful.
It's called Talking Joe, but they seem to be talking about football formations and stretching.
It
What's
was-
your
it
favourite
just became
sandwich?
It just became
transforming
a
into a Lamborghini.
Joe. Yeah, it just
Well, that's
became
the-
like a
that's
magazine
the
style show,
reason-
didn't it?
The reason I wanted to start it was because people needed to hear Chief. I think you were born you missed the kind of, we had such high hopes for Chief. We thought you were going to be a TV star, Chief. When we were
Wow.
growing up, we were like,
Chief's World.
get Chief, on the telly.
Chief
That never
explains it all.
happened. And I was like, this guy, he doesn't have the tech know-how how to do a podcast. But I was like, if I introduce this guy into podcasting, he's going to
Then it
find
can
a
only
whole...
ruin your career as well.
Well, but look what you've discovered, all these, like lovely people. So I'm really proud that we, starting things is the hardest bit, isn't it? It's the kind of like, okay, we're going to do this. And then we finally did do it. And, look what happened.
Yeah. But most people will do some kind of research before they start something. You said, do you want to do a podcast? I said, yeah. And you were like, right, go and buy yourself £100 microphone and we're going to record next week. I was like, all right.
Exactly. Well, that's how you got to live
we
your
didn't-
You've
life.
got to
didn't
dive in.
We
You've
didn't
got to
research
dive in.
how to publish a podcast or whether we need to do promotional material first to get people's interest up. We were just like, let's just do it. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's
It's just
the way.
look at the connections, though. Look at the boxes here. It's like we wouldn't know each other if it wasn't for Talking Joe.
You
You
pushing
can
us.
blame it
into
on
the
that, is what
podcast.
you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've probably got the 3 best G.I. Joe podcasts all on this particular chat right now. Full Force, Talking Joe, and Joe Berg. My opinion, the 3 best. So it's I consider
Holy Trinity.
I consider Talking Joe in good company there. So
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you definitely
Well,
got the 2 best on here, mate.
Another 100, surely.
No, I have to echo that. I think you guys starting this was a really good idea. I was happy to jump on because I thought I saw what it was like and thought it was really cool to kind of, maybe contribute towards, and loved every second of doing what I did. And unfortunately, I had to bow out for, just having too much on. Really, just I couldn't keep going with it. And then thankfully, Steve took over and did a great job, and then similar things happened, and now Mark's taken over. Mark, how are you finding it at this stage?
yeah, it's a good question. Great question.
After all these trailblazers have been before you, how are you finding it settling in?
Yeah, I mean, standing on the shoulders of giants, obviously, but I think we've all got our own personalities, our own take, and own thing to bring to it. So, yeah, but yeah,
Well,
obviously, I've come from a position of just sort of listening to it and enjoying it for that much longer, whereas just you guys just were a bit more thrown into it, kind of as just a new experience. But yeah, I've obviously got the 3 of you guys to sort of hold up.
You knew all the
examples
mistakes that had been
and,
made.
yeah,
You could
understand
learn
what
from all
not
of
to
that,
do.
couldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, I tapped up Mark because I knew Mark prior to, obviously, Chris and S-Jubs I didn't know prior to them coming on the show. I was friends with Mark anyway, and I had tapped him up saying, when Chris was thinking about stepping down, I said, I might need someone to help and pitch in to help out. And Mark was like, yeah, I'll be up for that. And then, of course, no, that's when Ben dropped out. And of course, I got Chris instead. And then when Chris was going to drop out, I said to Mark, I might need your help to come on and co-host. And
You
then
kept
Esther
teasing
jumped
him.
in.
You horrible git.
Dangle that carrot. Damn, son.
Yeah, he's like,
And
yeah,
then
no,
when
don't
you-
worry, I've got someone better. It's fine.
And then when he ran out of options, no, that's not fair.
No, it was more based on the fact that Chris and S-Jubs were I'm not going to say willing, but were skilled editors and were able to do that side of the work. Whereas I think
Yeah, they volunteered to do the hard work.
it was you and me to Mark, so that side of it. So yeah, there you go.
Well, if we're getting sentimental, when I first discovered Talking Joe, I said to myself, I want to be friends with those guys. They sound like really great stand-up guys. I love the banter. I love the chemistry between them. I want in. How do I do that?
Oh, you got it.
After ignoring all my DMs, finally, in Chief's hour of need, he was like, "Yeah, okay."
Did I ignore your DMs?
I think I tried. Maybe it was
I
on a
didn't
fri-
ignore your DMs.
No, I know. I'm drumming it up for dramatic effect.
You slid into
Forgive
my
me.
DMs.
I am an
slid
adult.
right in.
Slid right in there.
when it was evident that Talking Joe might go on a hiatus because Chief was, on his ace again, didn't know how to edit a podcast, I was like, okay, you want to talk some Joe, bro? Well, how about tonight?
I like how Steve, you were all like, I did it to be friends with you guys, and I'm like, I was just looking at the paycheck the whole time. I'm just
It
thinking,
never came. Never came.
I'm sure I'm going to get paid for this at some point, and it never happened. And that's why I left. I'm like, I can't do this anymore for free.
Jeez, bro, I'd love to see your invoice for your billable hours. I mean,
oh my god,
Ooh.
podcasting, guys, we sink a lot
Time
of
drain.
time.
It's
But it's for the love.
I said
right?
to Chief the other day, I was like, if you want to start Out of Timers again, I was like, I'm going to get an intern. I'm going to pay an intern.
Well,
And
professional
serious.
podcasters
And
absolutely do. You get to show up for the fun stuff, do a little bit of show prep because you don't want to be a complete arsehole when you're on the air. But someone, you
Ben
hand it
doesn't
off to
mind.
someone else, and then magically it appears in people's
Chief,
podcasts.
was that you I was talking to, or was that Emma about the intern?
You mentioned getting an intern. I think, yeah,
16-year-old, yeah, minimum wage.
yeah, they'd be well out. They'd do it for free, wouldn't they? Or not?
all those
Pay
shows.
them
Experience.
exposure.
Yeah.
Read these 155 comics, and then put cliff notes. And
How
then-
much do you weigh? This is just for Chief Spready.
This is for a spreadsheet.
What's your wingspan?
It's for a spreadsheet. Who would win in a knife fight? It's just for a spreadsheet. Who would win in a knife fight?
That's great.
Yeah, maybe they wouldn't do it for free, but minimum wage.
Speaking of knife fights, though, Gary also asked for each host, what is your most memorable or favorite example of ninja bullshit?
Yeah, Joe. Oh, that's actually my favourite jingle. That was
because that's weird.
it's
'cause
yours. You have got one.
my-
You have got one.
I've got one. Yeah. 99-1 is the ratio of jingles.
Yeah.
99.
Ninja bullshit. Off the top of my head, I don't know. I've probably expunged most of them from.
Oh,
memory.
I know which one mine is.
Go on.
It's the latter part, like quarter of the series, and Snake Eyes, I think, does a flip from they're on two.
Paralyzer tank.
Yes, and he flips off one onto another one and performs the Arashikage mindset in a split second, and everyone's cool. And it's just like bang, 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 and I was just like, hang on a minute, that was a little bit NB, that was. But yeah, that's mine.
How about Firefly doing Go-Go Power Rangers by creating a pyramid of red ninjas and being the Scorpions?
Scorpion.
Oh,
that was
yeah, that's
ninja
a good one.
bullshit.
Oh my god!
Not being able, not being able to see his face because he can do that is another one of just
Blurry face. Yeah.
He's doing it. He's doing it.
Oh, that's good. He's doing it.
It
works.
works. It fucking works.
It's proof.
the face.
Chris,
You've got to do that constantly, and your neck's going to fall off. So,
Did Chief ask you to record that jingle?
No.
No, I don't think so. I think I just did it because it was funny.
Yeah, when you sent that to him, that must have gone down like a shit sandwich, Chief. That's like, well, who the heck does this guy? I do the jingles on this show.
It's like, who approved this? I didn't get the memo for this. There was no back and forth conversation about
People don't
it.
send me jingles. I send them jingles.
I send them vocals for them to do the music over with no other context.
I haven't heard that jingle. I want to hear it. Can you just do a little
do it live.
rendition?
Uncensored, please.
How does it start?
Ninja bullshit.
Is
All
It's all the time.
Oh yeah, it's all the time. G.I. Joe and ninja bullshit. That's literally it. And it's got this music, but
But
I
it's got
can't.
good-
I literally can't do that with my mouth, unfortunately. Ninja bullshit. It's all the time. G.I. Joe and ninja bullshit. Yeah, I don't know why that even came out of my mouth, but it did.
I'd love to see Chief reviewing that when
Yeah,
that
10
first
stars.
came through.
10 stars.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Out of
Out
4
of 20.
million.
Yeah.
I've got to actually thank you, Chris, because the jingle that sent me down this great playlist of like 90s R&B dance tunes was Comic Talk.
Oh yeah, that is a banger, isn't it?
Oh, so good.
That's all Chief though. I mean, he's the one that said, "I want it over this. Hear the lyrics," and I had to then find the instrumental.
Well, then I take it back. Chief, thank you.
suck out of me and spit it into Chief.
And then, okay, like just on the topic, like the jingle that then takes first prize for me is then the remix, the Comic Talk, fashion talk within Comic Talk.
Oh my god, yeah.
Armani, Prada, Versace too.
Yeah.
Cheers, changed their looks from black to
Gee.
blue. Oh man, so good. Well
That-
done,
yeah.
sir.
Absolute bangers.
I mean, just in
the-
case anyone needed to peer behind the curtain of this podcast, yes, Chief, you are just a jingle creating machine. It's all you, baby.
and I used to get really excited when he'd send me, like, you know, full disclosure, I didn't. I actually enjoyed it when Chief sent me this stuff, but he sent me a message, an email, and it would be like, the email would be like some sort of generic title. It wouldn't have. It'd be like, you know,
He'd suck at you.
unnamed one
He'd
or
suck at
something,
you.
whatever it was. And I'd listen to it and I'd be like, this is absolute gold. But I tell you what, I had to do a lot of editing because Chief can churn jingles out and vocals out, but he cannot keep time to save his life.
Because a lot of the time I'm writing and then singing them without the actual you know, backing track behind me. I'm trying to in my head think this is the time of it, and it's clearly not.
And I'm like, yeah, cut that, move that over there.
Oh
Honestly,
yes, you've done that with him too. I've done that, Chief, with you when we did Out of Timers and we for some reason we just started singing songs at the beginning. Oh my god, I was having to like drag your vocals all over the place to make it fit. So good.
I even infiltrated the Out of Timers with jingles as well, didn't I?
Yeah, mate, you infiltrate everything with jingles or songs. Let's stop calling them jingles because you have moved on.
Yeah.
yeah, we've got the album dropping this summer.
Yes.
Yeah, these are like the 12-inch versions. Jeez, 7-minuters.
Grabs, I'm not sure if that's a human or just something you've written on the email, sent us a couple of questions. One saying, there are notable differences between the G.I. Joe comics and cartoons. Which differences do you personally like better in the comics and cartoon?
I have to swerve this one because I'm not a cartoon aficionado, but I know S-Jubs and Diagnostic, maybe even Mark will have an opinion here.
I think I'd take Mutant Snake Man over Used Car Salesman any day of the week.
I think possibly what the cartoon did was it juggled that cast quite well. That they fleshed out a lot of that core cast.
Yeah, it wasn't the 6 Degrees of Separation from Snake Eyes show. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not just a ninja show.
I did find it a bit jarring as a kid where you'd have the Action Force comic, which was one kind of, you know, continuity, a Larry Hama reprint, which was another continuity they tried to force into it, and then the cartoon, which had nothing to do with any of it and was just, you know, like all over the place, and then the file cards, which all differed dramatically. And it was just, honestly, it was such a minefield growing up in the UK with this stuff because
Multiple
sure you
layers
guys-
of canon.
it was just all over the place, wasn't it? It was like,
Quick question.
Yeah.
Question. What was there a definite split between growing up, do you think, of G.I. Joe fans who were either just the comic, just the cartoon, or just the toys, or in general were G.I. Joe fans of all of those mediums?
I would
No,
say,
probably just the toys and the cartoon for a lot of people.
I was going to say the more casual kind of connection would have been that, yeah, definitely seeing it on TV and buying toys based on that. Comics would have been still like kids would be buying them, and they would have been easier to get hold of back then anyway. Like, you know, they'd have been in grocery stores and like, you know, all sorts of stuff. It wouldn't just be the comic shop that sells your comics.
Because there was a point where G.I. Joe was like literally the number one selling toy, the number one syndicated cartoon, and the number one selling comic. So there was, you know, it was very big in it at its peak, and I guess there would have been quite a lot of crossover between those three. But yeah, the cartoon and the figures would have been the more mass market component of that, wouldn't it?
You're spot on, because they also advertised the comic as well, and that was because they couldn't at the time advertise the cartoon. No, what was it? They couldn't do. They basically had to come up with a way to. The only advertising they could do was the comic.
They were when they were advertising the toys, they could only use so much animation and sort of non-playing with the toys in a toyetic fashion. So to make it more fun and exciting, they wanted to use as much animation as possible, and they got around with that by creating the adverts for the comics and then recycling some of that same footage to.
I think you'd find that a lot of they'd probably all be buying it, all of those different things, and consuming it all in that way. But I think after a while, some people would be more comic, some people would be more cartoon, some people would not care. So yeah, I think it was one of those things that would have morphed over time, I think.
Yeah, fair. I mean, I don't know why I never got into the cartoon. I don't know what.
Well, it wasn't shown on terrestrial TV in the UK, so
okay.
It was
VHS
a lot harder to access via VHS and certain satellite broadcasts. So that was one of the things that in the UK held it back from being quite as mainstream it was in the US, was the fact that we didn't get the widespread.
It's interesting though, because at that first internet, like the first Hasbro UK kind of rebrand in 87, 88, that was like excuse me, that was like the at the time it was everywhere. You go into Woolworths, you go into like stores, merchandise up the wazoo. It was like you'd have, you know, stuff in like, you know, Boots, you'd have like soap, and you'd have like bath bubbles, and also like Flint was on everything. Televipers were on everything. Crimson Guard were on everything. It was, you couldn't move for seeing Action Force stuff in the UK for like a good solid 2 or 3 years stint. So it was massive, and I think, like you say, if it had been on syndicated television, it would have probably taken it through the roof. And still don't know why it wasn't. Like, I don't understand why it wasn't. It ended up on like Cartoon Network, and it ended up on like another like Boomerang, maybe like further down, like in like the latter stages of the whole thing. So it's really weird that we didn't get it on TV as kids.
Yeah. Now I know S-Jubs, you'll probably say yes to this, but is G.I. Joe, that line of toys, the greatest toy line ever made?
How can it not be, Chief?
Okay.
Come on, buddy.
You're asking the wrong and right people at the same time.
Yeah,
there,
correct.
really?
Yeah. Obviously, but objectively, can you say it is the greatest?
Objectively, definitely can't say.
Well, let's boil it down to its component elements. Let's talk about scale. Which scale is the perfect medium where you have interplay between your protagonist, a fully posable avatar of yourself that you can kind of imprint character into? He's big enough to pose, he's big enough to have conversations and things to happen to him and to react to things, but also at the same time, okay, excuse the different toy line, but I mean, the scaling to vehicle works. It works. I mean, within this scale, you can get things as big as
the flag,
a nominal aircraft carrier. Yeah, you know, it's not correctly, accurately real world scaled. But
it's not bad though, is it really, when you think about
it? You can land a Sky Striker on the deck, okay? Yes, the play pattern is just, it is what you want to make of it. Take Transformers, for example. Scaling's all over the place.
Yeah, it's
And
all over
the play
the shithouse.
pattern, the play pattern doesn't ever sort of boil itself down to the unit, which is you, which is your placeholder. It's always about giant robots doing battle. I mean, where do you take that? How do you ensure longevity of that? G.I. Joe has so many different permutations within its play pattern. And the world building is so great. You know, of course, you got the heavy hitters like a Defiant Launch Complex, a USS Flag, and a Terradrome, to name but the Holy Trinity. But you've also got small dio pieces like a rifle range and a checkpoint alpha with a clipboard. Okay, so at every level, at every price point, there is suspension of disbelief. There's a narrative. It cannot be beat. It will never be beat.
Yep.
And it took a decade as bombastic as the 80s to place that high watermark, and it will never be surpassed, I don't think.
And because if you compare it to a similar heavily pushed line like the Kenner Star Wars line, which obviously sold very, very well, but when you look at the points of articulation, there's no comparison. I mean, it's
if you want to talk about construction, I mean, G.I. Joe had the sweet spot.
Yeah.
You know, like durability and posability without being too fiddly. A lot could be said for modern construction surpassing that, but then there are also people weighing in on the other side of the fence that say that modern construction does have some problems with it as well. You know, like it's almost too much. I'm not one of those people, but I'm just saying the naysayers, the sort of the vintage purists would be like, oh, we don't need double jointed knees and we don't need wrists and we don't need this and we don't need that. But comparing it to Star Wars, I'll say the thing that makes G.I. Joe stand on its own from Star Wars is the fact that these are characters that are not dependent on a blockbuster film. And I know that might sound odd, but like, who of us enjoyed adventuring as like the Holy Trinity, of like Luke, Leia, or Han? Like, who kind of really inhabited those characters? I think G.I. Joe gave you so many more colorful characters to kind of imprint on. It's very difficult to take the protagonists of Star Wars and like embody them. That's why I gravitated towards the bounty hunters. You know, their stories were unwritten.
Dengar.
But with yeah, you like diaper face?
Just
Diaper
literally wrap myself up in some toilet roll and there I am, done.
Chief can't see him in Return of the Jedi. Just cannot see him. He's there.
Dude,
we did
I
that
laughed my
watch
head off.
along. We did that watch along on the other week, and just you kept saying Dengar.
There he is.
Oh, I missed
The
it.
faceless master.
Bosk is in there too, Chief. Deep background.
Who
Bosk is in there. Bosk.
Right. Yeah, I just couldn't see him. No, I think that is a 100% valid viewpoint and opinion, and kind of sums up the G.I. Joe's place in history as a fantastic IP that has stood the test of time. No other kind of pop culture franchise has lasted that long in terms of still cranking out stuff of consistently good quality.
Talking Joe's getting there, mate. Don't worry about it. It'll get there.
Episode 700.
Jingle 4 billion.
That is I think a great summation and a great way to potentially close out the show. I know
It's a Scout Walker.
The fan back, the Scout Bear Walker. There he is.
Yeah.
Now, how are you spelling his
He's
middle
back.
name? Bear? Is it B-E-A-R?
Yeah.
No, it's BEER.
Ironically, bear in Afrikaans.
Oh, right.
Brilliant.
There you go. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, the fam is back for me.
Yeah. Well, no, this is good because we're wrapping up now anyway. It's been good.
Get
It's
it,
been-
boy. You got a
it's been
future in podcasting ahead of you, young
There it
man.
is, yeah. No, not for eating.
This is great radio, guys.
Yeah.
Assuming that people are actually listening to this and not watching it.
Yes. No, No, that's cool. That's been a big thanks to everyone for taking time out to jump on here for a couple of hours on everyone's busy schedules. S-Jubs needs to get drunk and go to bed. Diagnostic probably got more editing to do. Marky
Yep.
Mark's got family stuff on. Ben is playing with the Scout, and the Chief probably is going to do some Skeletric maybe, or some, I don't know, make some dioramas.
Some retro gaming.
Fill up a
That's
bottle.
what
That's
I'm
what I'm
playing.
playing.
I'm just about to start Resident
Shame
Evil 0.
in, or you'll be failing.
Oh,
Nintendo Power.
Not in the shower.
Goes in, goes rages. What?
Whatever.
Whatever.
Listen, big shout out to everyone again. Thank you very much for jumping on this. Thanks to the listeners. If we didn't get to your questions, apologies, but we just got caught up in the fun of chatting to each other.
There's only two left. There's only
yeah.
two left.
Oh, was there? Okay.
Yeah.
Quick
Just
fire
take it
round.
personally.
Yeah.
Okay, quickly. Which comic
So
story
G.I.
arc
Joe
do you-
pop quiz, pop quiz. It's a G.I. Joe pop quiz question.
40. Which comic story arc do you think would translate the best to film?
G.I. Joe Cobra.
Yeah. Next.
So, yeah, Cobra, yeah.
Who is the definitive G.I. Joe comic book artist on interiors? And if you say Wildman, quit podcasting forever.
Wildman. That was my introduction to G.I. Joe. Come on.
What?
My favourite's probably Rod Wiggum.
Wiggum.
Oh, God,
me,
what's his
for
name?
sure.
Trimpy for me.
Bright.
Oh, yeah, good choice. Good choice.
Thank you,
There you go.
Do you
Called that
remember
one out
any
my butt,
artists,
didn't I?
Ben?
I do
No
not,
UK,
Chief.
no Action Force UK artists. Come on, guys.
Well, if we're talking Action Force, this is G.I. Joe comics, isn't it? But Action
Okay, fair
Force,
enough.
I would have to say Kev Hopgood for me. I love
Hopgood.
Kev Hopgood is
Yeah.
just...
And Jeff Senior, brilliant,
And
amazing.
Banyo for me.
Oh, Vanyo,
Vanyo.
Battle Action Force, baby.
Okay, deep
Yeah.
cut.
Nice. It's a three-way split. You guys can have it. You can have each. Nice.
And finally, well, actually, no, that's it. That was it, yeah. That was
No.
the two questions.
Ching, ching.
Good, very good.
We've been talking Joe.
And we're all out of Joe's. Catch us next week. Issue. No, I can't even. What's the words? Episode
episode
101.
101.
We're covering. Mark, what issues we covering? I can't remember.
Something like 2, 5,
Yeah, them.
4.
Read them issues. 255,
253 and 254. Thank you.
254 and 255.
What?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Whatever,
4, 4,
whatever.
and 5, 5.
You're not even listening anymore, S-Jubs.
4, 5.
Oh, you cut
5.
me deep. Of course I'm listening. Shit.
Right. We've been talking Joe, and we're all out of Joe's.
It's all said
in
and
that
done.
one.
Laters.
All
Yeah,
said
those
and
two, read
done.
those
We'll
two.
catch
See
you
you
down the
later,
road.
Uh,
Bye.
Wicked.